Pounders, we are back. And tonight we got a special guest for you, an ultra special guest, once referred to himself as the Doyle Brunson of Bestball. Let's get that smile in here. Let's get the instant reaction. Now, there's a little context that because the way you referred to it, let me frame it for the people. It was because when he won World Series of Poker, it was a smaller contest. How many players was the BBM contest that you won?
Ooh, I want to say around 200,000. No, not even. It was something
Really?
like 50,000. It was, it was 200K up top for first place. But I want to say there was probably like 50 some thousand or so. I could look it up pretty quickly. But that's what the reference was, is when Doyle was winning the World Series of Poker in the beginning, I think it was him and like maybe 20 friends.
Yeah, it's much more than that. It's much more than that. It's still a very, very impressive win. And for you guys that don't know Justin, he works over at Establish the Run on Instagram. You can find that in the description. You can find his Twitter in the description as well. Fully recommend a follow there. Did you sort of know, like, at the time Bestball was created, that it was going to be this big just, 2-3 years later?
Yeah, so it's interesting because even before Underdog existed, you had a company called Draft. And before them, you had MFL 10s, which were literally just $10 kind of league plays. And you draft, and best you can do is just win your, I don't know, maybe $60 or something. Right. Then Draft, which was the predecessor to Underdog, pretty much the same team, they started having some of these best ball draft style contests. And we had, I think there was a final that we had for that, and it was 12 people. And like Peter Jennings, he was one of them that was in there as well. And it was, not as many people playing, and the final was 12 people. And then Underdog kicks off with that first year. Final goes to 50. I just looked. There were just over 30,000 people in those entrants. I think the BBM does 30,000 people in the, I don't know, every probably day or two right now in the BBM.
Yeah, it's definitely catching up. I saw a couple weeks ago, it was like at a 7,800 pace, and it needed to be at whatever, like a 9,000 in order to fill. This thing's going to fill. This thing's going to, it'll double that, triple that towards the end, especially if people think there's going to be overlay. Everyone starts drafting.
Well, it's even a step beyond that. Underdog is sitting there, and they can see when there's other tournaments, how much the BBM does and doesn't fill. And so they can kind of put their finger on the lever for, all right, this is filling too quickly. Let's throw a Chihuahua out there. Let's throw a puppy out there. Let's throw another four-legged hairy creature out there. And when they get closer to September, if it was open, and they're going a little slower than they expect, all right, they just won't have that last puppy. They won't have those. They know what they're doing. This is going to fill about a week beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. They did release the Chihuahua today, right? A $4 draft, 15 max entry. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm just seeing that now. 70,000 entrants. It's a fun one. What are your thoughts on like time management and bankroll management, right? Because drafting is fun, and this is my third year doing Bestball, and this is the first year that I'm like, okay, I'd rather do 101 Dalmatian than do 20 puppies. What are your thoughts on like time drafting versus entry fees?
Yeah, I think it comes down to finding what the right fit is for you personally, like on an individual level, because there are some people who, I don't know, they're not going to mass draft. Maybe they're going to enter 100 drafts throughout the summer, and they like doing 1 or 2 a day, and they just really enjoy the aspect of drafting. And but they want to make sure that they're not going outside their bankroll. So the $4 ones, those $5, the $3 are perfect for them. But then there's some people who are like, you know what? I also have my job. My time is very valuable. I'm doing this because I enjoy it, but I'm not going to be able to do as much. And I want to make sure I'm getting a good ROI, or at least an EV on my time. And in those worlds, maybe the 101. But guess what? The people who are in the 101 are definitely sharper drafters than what you're getting in some of the lower stakes ones. And then you've got to compare the different sites as well. DraftKings is the softest. Drafters is a different game. It's going to have overlay. Underdog has sharp people all throughout. You got to adjust.
I love the DraftKings conversation because I've seen you and Liam sort of go back and forth and who thinks which one has the sharper drafters and whatever. And I still think that DraftKings, there's a lot of loopholes in ADP that they're not. I don't think it is as sharp personally, but that's a whole nother conversation.
To Liam's credit, he's primarily drafting the 555 and the higher stakes
Oh,
one on DraftKings. And
yeah.
I agree, those 555s and some of the higher stakes are probably overall fairly sharp compared to he's also maxing the BBM. If you go jump in a $3 DraftKings, if you jump in a $10 DraftKings,
Oh, yeah.
I streamed one earlier today. Sam Howell went in the third round. Things just don't make sense sometimes. There's no stacking. No. A lot of people are also doing no stacking. Like, it's the people who are watching the Fantasy Dog Pound that are watching these streams. They're the ones who, like, yeah, there's advertising for Underdog. The UI for Underdog is great. There's sharper people on Underdog. You just get more casuals that are introduced to it and aren't in our sphere, our ecosystem. And they're drafting off vibes, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah. And it's crazy to think that, I mean, even when I just text my buddies in the at-home leagues, it's like, hey, do you guys play Bestball yet? Like, what are you doing? First, subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the live stream, hit the bell for notifications so you can jump into the live drafts with us. There's the promo. And only 2 out of 12 are like, yeah, I know what it is. Or 2 out of 11 because one of them's me. But it's like, what's going on? But that's really encouraging. It means that it has a long way to go still. And more people are at least now accustomed to seeing underdogs, their advertisement now more on the NFL. I saw that for the first time, I think, last season. And I'm guessing they're going to do more of that this year. So the advertisement side of things, getting more people involved. And then they're just so good at getting multi-sports too. That's a whole nother, it's just insane. But let's take a quick peek here at 4 for 4. I just like to start the streams off this way and just sort of see where the ADP changes are to start. Like this is the last, 5 days. We see Kareem Hunt going 14 spots earlier. I think that's just like maybe people with FOMO that haven't been making the Kareem Hunt click. And they're like, oh, maybe he is trying to play football this year, whether he can or not. I think it's the
Colts
still.
Aspect where, like, if he was going to go to the Saints, you're like, okay, he's replacing Eno Benjamin. He's number 4 there. He may even get cut after Kamara comes back. Like, that was kind of a worst case scenario. Now you look at, all right, if he's actually going to Indy, I mean, that's probably an ideal landing spot for him to actually have a chance at being the lead back. Would he play above Zach Moss, Deion Jackson, Evan Hall? Maybe not. I don't know. But at least, like, as an 18th rounder or a 17th rounder, it's worth taking a chance.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he does fit on certain team molds too, right? Where maybe you have a couple rookies and you just need someone to have some sort of fancy floor for you. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Jalen Hyatt still rising, but he had a couple slow days in camp. I think the preseason games will be pretty big for him, and just seeing there's just so many receivers here, right? And him and Slayton going to be probably playing a similar role.
All right, so my thoughts on the Giants wide receiver set. I think that Slayton and Hodges are going to be in 2 wide receiver sets. I think those kind of have their roles, and I think you see a variation of the rest of the guys kind of going through the slot. Sterling Shepard will probably start the year in the slot, just from like hey, we've seen it. Sorry, not Sterling Shepard. Paris Campbell. Sterling Shepard may not even be out there. Paris Campbell's probably going to start the year in the slot. We've seen him doing well in training camp and the positive reports. But Jalen Hyatt, I think, just has too much talent, and kind of we're seeing excitement from that team around him that he's going to find a way in. I was trying to figure out where that is. Josh Norris, he believes that Jalen Hyatt's best chance is in the slot because that's where he can get loose. I was initially thinking that he would play a little more on the outside, just from like, the more vertical role, and you have so many other slot guys. It's a bit confusing, but like, I do think Hodgins and Slayton are decent picks. Slayton probably even better just because he's almost free.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with the Slayton click. It is interesting to think about like Paris Campbell and some of these players when we think about like the end of the season. Is Wan'Dale going to be out there? I think most likely by the end of the season, he probably will. I'm not saying he's someone I'm clicking on, but it's just another weapon, if you would, in this offense when they're all kind of similar guys. And then you just have Darren Waller, who I think is going to be the number 1 target, sort of similar to KC. It's just a bunch of other guys and then the tight end. That's
I
sort of
mean,
the way
and
I see it.
Saquon's also still going to have his 15% or so, 10 to 15% target share, which is substantial. The Wando's interesting. Stefania Bell did a podcast with Adam Levitan, and she was actually kind of giving some hesitance in whether Wandale even plays this year. Then a couple days ago, there were some positive reports that Wando may actually surprise us and not even start the year on the pups. You're having a wide range of like what could happen there. But in general, I'm trying to avoid just trying to guess on those slot receivers. And I'd rather take the Hodgins, the Hyatt, because I think Hyatt could play anywhere and is just a talent that can see its way. Just give me Daniel Jones.
I hear you. I definitely hear you with that. Daniel Jones and one pass catcher. I mean, if you can do two, you can do multiple, but I think when you're talking about like a single game slate too, it's going to be more rare for him to get two people to the optimal position. Ferguson, Mims, Luke Musgrave, Henry. Henry's making consistent moves every single week, and then you're seeing Gesicki on the other end starting to slide because of it. I've been drafting Henry over Gesicki this whole time, but that's just because I would rather use my 18th round pick on a red zone target that's been established with the team. That's been sort of my take on the Gesicki versus Henry news. Do you have a preference between those two?
Yeah, we've been on Henry all summer and really were surprised why it took so long to really see the movement. Everything just kind of made sense. Hunter Henry, like people loved him as a talent not too long ago. Like he's still a good football player. Got a little unlucky in the touchdown department last year, but most importantly is Mike Gesicki's like not going to threaten his job. They play different positions. They're almost as different as like Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. And, coming in there, like Hunter Henry still is on a major contract, has the rapport from the year before, not expecting him to really leave the field. And when you look at the rest of the wide receivers that are available on that team, it's a little ugly. So I'm expecting Hunter Henry to be a primarily like every down back. I think is a great value. I think he's just starting to rise because there are been time after time positive camp reports. He's favorite end zone target for Mac Jones, blah, blah. And then you got Pat Crane, you got a couple others that were also putting some tweets out, some stuff about him this week. So we're starting to see that momentum. But the thing is, we talk about ADP being efficient. Overall, it is, but it's slow. It takes time. So there's still time to get Hunter Henry in the 17th, and you're not missing out.
So true. So true. It's not like a huge cost difference when you get to the 17th, 18th round. But all right, we did jump in. We tipped off the YouTube members as well as the Patreon members. We appreciate you guys. And let's see what draft position.
Slow drafts.
Were we supposed to show that?
I'm team no slow.
I do about 15 to 20.
Okay.
Man, after 20, it starts to feel like a job.
Yeah. So I remember days in the draft days before Underdog, there was no overnight timer. It just put me in like a bad mental place where I was having nightmares. I was waking up. I'm because you're going to bed and you're thinking about these picks and
someone's trying to overnight you.
I don't have children. I prefer getting a little more than 8 hours of sleep. Give me like 9 hours, waking up with no alarm. That's my good life. And when you're actually thinking about these picks, I was just like not able to. It was horrible sleep, and it's all summer if you're doing it. So eventually, they added that overnight clock, so that was good through those conversations. So my pain actually led to a nice feature there. And then 2 is I just personally have gotten rid of just about all my slows.
Okay. Man, I feel like if you're, I think it does help me personally where I have the kid, I have the wifey. I can't be on the phone all day, although I would be. Trust me.
There's some people that you can't do fast. You can't tie out 45 minutes, and I completely get it.
That's why I do 2 or 3 at a time. So when I draft, I have to do 2 or 3 at a time to make the most of my time. And preference here, I usually go with Hill over Cup.
Yep, I agree.
I could go either or.
Nope, I agree. Before the injury, I was still a little Tyreek over, but like on full PPR, I was Cooper Cup. I'm not at all concerned about the Doc Boating Miami, Florida incident for Tyreek Hill. And I think
courts move slow, man. Courts move so slow.
I mean, I don't even think there are courts. I think they've come to like a settlement, and he's probably just going to pay the guy off. And like, I don't think there's
Yeah.
enough of a video and to warrant any Goodell action. At worst, it might be a fine, but I think it's honestly just going to get ignored. But for me, with Tyreek Hill, I think a couple things come into play. One is bullish on the Miami offense, bullish on Tua. A healthy Tua can just really unleash this offense. I love getting Tyreek in kind of that 5 and 6 because more often Waddle falls back to you. So hopefully we can get Waddle here. But if not, in the third round, I still love grabbing someone like Mark Andrews. You get that week 17 correlation. And that's another team that I'm very bullish on.
Yeah, and the Waddle plus Hill combination was tougher to get in that 15% to 50% fill rate for BBM. So now that you're able to get it again, I don't think it's going to last. So it is a tougher combination to get. So I do like scooping that right now while you can, especially like in Cup on the other side of it. Like you're getting him in rooms at 6, 7, 8, depending on who's in that draft room and just the fear of a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
So I know I got him. Man, I think I had the 6 pick 3 times for the Pitbull in a row, and I got Cup all 3. I mean, it's the clear upside pick. So I don't shy away from.
And there was a decent amount of time that you were able to go Cooper Kupp, Saquon Barkley, and get that week 17 correlation because Barkley was falling all the way there. And so I've got a bunch of that combo. Barkley's rarely falling past pick like 16, 17 now. There is a bit of a almost dead zone at like pick 21, 22 in the drafts right now. We'll see whether or not someone above it falls to us. But it does leave you with some interesting choices from the 3-4 positions right now.
So we'll see what comes back to us. We'll see what they leave us with. Shout out to Vicky Vic. Sign up for YouTube memberships today. She's officially a spoon. Spoon's in the chat.
Geraldo, is that one of your people?
I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so.
Just
guys, let me know if you snuck in here with us and where you're drafting from so we could shout out your team. Can I keep track?
Just wanted to give a comment on Geraldo. I kind of like what Geraldo's doing here, getting the Detroit-Dallas Week 17 correlation, but a unique way to do it because everyone has the Amon-Ra CD combo, and Pollard just has very, very rarely been being drafted at the same point as Amon-Ra. So that's just a unique combo that also gives you Week 17 correlation. I like it.
Right. And how minus EV is it? Right. Like Pollard still has the potential to finish as a top 5 running back. So whether you're drafting him at 20, you're getting him here with that combination that you wouldn't otherwise get. I think it's a nice little unique move. I've seen people pull Pollard for the CD teams, and that's another common one. But yeah, I like it.
I don't hate it. All right, we are seeing what falls to us. Usually for me, I would go Henry, and if not Henry, I'd go Devonta. The Devonta is with hopes that Jalen Hurts falls back to you. Devonta goes there. I think this is where like that gap kind of fall is.
I'm pretty much auto clicking Henry if this is up, and if Henry goes, like you said, either Devonta, but I would also mix in some Mahomes just for my own personal exposures due to I wasn't drafting these guys, these elite 3 early. So catching up on the back end is me just getting a better price than the early drafters.
But and it's weird. I don't dislike Mahomes at all, but he is probably my lowest owned QB this year.
I'm pretty low myself.
Yeah. I think like his ADP is higher than Hurts and Allen. I like Hurts and Allen from an individual standpoint better than those two, but his ADP is just drawn up because so many people want to take him with the Kelsey stack. So if you do that, in my mind, you're overpaying for a highly, highly owned stack. Obviously, if you can get him in the third, that's fantastic. And that's like very, very few times I have him. But also often the Cincy, T. Higgins, or Jamar Chase person is drafting him too. And then you have people who are just seeing ADP 21 and getting value and like, okay, go with a random Justin Jefferson one there. Yeah.
He rarely falls past 26, 27. But I agree. That's most of my ADP for him is in this 28 to 29 range. I'm sitting at 5% for BBM. Okay. And I would just rather take shots on some of those QBs that their ADPs aren't overly adjusted, like Justin Fields, who I think could be going in this third round next year very easily. Herbert, who, I mean, he was hurt for most of the year. His pass catchers were hurt. I think Allen and Mike Williams were on the field together for like 18% of snaps. So definitely think we're going to see an uptick there. Obviously getting another weapon too with Herbs.
Yeah, I went from literally 0% Justin Herbert last year to looking to see what I am right now. Still lower on him than I expected. I'm surprised I am. I'm actually only 3% him. I thought I was a lot higher. I know on DraftKings I've got a ton of him because from a stacking standpoint. That's something I'll probably want to correct. Yeah, I love Jalen Hurts here.
I'm also cool with just grabbing Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Or there's Mark Andrews.
Yeah. Current exposures. Let me do the Jalen Hurts click here. Like I said, wasn't drafting these guys early, so on the back end, I'm trying to catch up with these, especially when they fall. Little balanced start here, and this gives us options for the next few rounds too, which is nice. Most likely going to be back-to-back receiver, but we have to keep the people in the chat on their toes.
Triple toe here, taking his full time because he was expecting Hurts to fall to him. Stream snipe took Jalen Hurts from his Devonta stack.
Had to. Triple toe feeling the max pain.
Hey, going triple wide receiver as well.
All right, I got to crack this open. It's one of the few benefits of YouTube. It's drinking on the job.
Cheers.
It's like the Pete Overzet coffee pour. Just better.
What are you doing? What are you drinking? Looks like a little local.
Oh my God. No, it's not. It's actually Sam Adams Wicked Easy. And it's just it's a new light beer, and you can crush them. Again, Wicked Easy. The marketing's genius. They're wicked easy to drink.
There you go. I don't know. Have you had Wicked Weed Beers Brewery?
I have not.
All right. Nothing to do with actual marijuana, just from the name. But based out of Asheville, North Carolina, and fantastic beers. They also do a whole bunch of sours. They've got like a Funkatorium kind of thing to them. But when I saw Wicked, I was a little like, ooh, but yeah.
Very neat. And do they distribute all over, or is that?
They have distribution. It's obviously not as large as, mainstream.
Copy.
But yeah, it's I'd be interested. I would guess that people in chat have had or have heard of some Wicked Weed.
Let us know if you guys have had that. Hart says the Pound be interested to know what you guys think on the Eagles running back situation. Kenny Gainwell season or overreaction? I'm guessing that's the most referring to what came out today.
So the local beat reporter put out that Kenneth Gainwell has been leading in snaps, 40 snaps for
40
him,
snaps today,
most with the first line. Then some people kind of called out that isn't the most trustworthy or maybe analytical beat reporter. He had a previous article I remember from a year or so ago that says he's not going to trust a Jalen Hurts season unless Jalen Hurts throws 30 passing touchdowns in practice. And his conclusion comes from previous years of tracking passing touchdowns and assumed that correlation led to causality, which is poor. And so, hey, his data is correct in the snaps and such. Whether or not you want to get to his conclusion, I don't know. I'm going to go back to my prior in that they don't want a workhorse. I think they're going to spread it out and give me no DeAndre Swift, and I'll take the other two.
Ooh, I like it. I fully like that take, especially for the running backs that go around Swift. He's a tough click for me. Yeah. If C-Watt falls, I'm cool going C-Watt. I think Terry's fine.
I'd go Terry here. Definitely Joe Mixon. I'm expecting him to still get a suspension. His ADP should not be where it is.
Ooh, spicy. That's gonna be good for the Pounders there. Big Chase Brown guys.
Ooh. I don't know if Chase Brown is the guy either, though. But
it's okay. It's okay. All we need is a shot.
There you go. We'll see. I mean, because if this suspension comes out, I could see them signing one of the veteran guys. Maybe Travion has a chance. Maybe Chase Brown does.
Now, Travion, what did he tweaked something, right?
He did. week to week with an ankle sprain. Not ideal.
Yeah.
Because this is the chance when you really try to win those jobs.
Well, yeah, you're giving the rookie extra snaps right now and extra work with the ones, which good for Chase. Alex Mack, do you think that 4 running backs could ever work? Yes, 100%. It's all about like roster allocation and just kind of balancing your roster. I just tried it for the first time in Chihuahua. CMC, Henry, Jacobs, Brian Robinson. Could that ever work? Yeah, if Jacobs doesn't get suspended, sure. I think it, or suspended if he plays this season, I should say.
This is a good question because normally I have to like give theoretical answers, but he says, do you think it can ever work? My winning BBM team literally had 4 running backs.
It's a hyper fragile. Yeah. And that's everyone. And the problem, so that was great, right? But the next year, everyone tried chasing that team with 4 running back teams.
No.
I'm guilty of it. Now I balanced some of those teams really well and ended up with some CMC, Josh Jacobs squads, but it didn't matter. Like they ended up blowing in the playoffs.
And what's happened even every year is as wide receivers have moved up, hyperfragile has been less attainable. When I did it, you could still find value wide receivers in the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th. You can't find that now.
Right.
I'm good with Ayuk here.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So can it ever
week
work?
17
for
correlation
sure.
there. San Francisco, Washington. Yeah.
Little mini. So it's all about where you're spending, in my opinion. If you have a good roster construction, any sort of build can work. There's some that are more plus EV. There's more that are minus EV, but I had a start today in the Chihuahua. We started with CMC. We got Barkley. So we got like CMC at 5. Okay. We got Barkley at 20. And then I went JT at 29. My next running back was Chase Brown.
You tweeted this out. I think I saw this before we jumped on.
Yeah. So take a look at that tweet. I also posted it in the Discord in the draft grade section. And yeah, you can just sort of see different builds. I think that's interesting to look at other people and how they build their squads.
Yeah. What did the rest of that team look like for you after? I know you didn't go into the running back for a while, but did you go?
Let me pull it up real quick. Let me pull it up because it is an interesting one to look at. I actually think I went with the last pick, Lenny, because of how much he fell.
Probably the Chihuahua 2.
Chihuahua 2.
You know, you were right below where you were highlighted.
Was it?
Yep.
Thank you. One more down. Thank you. Let's pull this up. Nope, not this one. I did another one. I did 3 at a time. So, Deshaun Watson and Daniel Jones. So we did make it a 2 QB. I went with the 2 tight end. So I think my last pick, I was debating between like Cade Otton at tight end, who was really the only guy left, and Lenny. So it was a real toss up. Like if Hunter Henry's there, like I'm going Hunter Henry every time probably. But Hunter Henry went before Ferguson. So
it's tough because like when you grab those 2, we can go back. But when you grab those 2 quarterbacks, you did it partly because you like them or whatever, but also there are no really good wide receivers available where those quarterbacks are often getting drafted. And so on that team where in historical years you start off with 3 great running backs, in rounds 8, 9, 10, you can still get good wide receivers. In that one, you could have kept going for wide receivers in that 8, 9, but you're like, I could go Deshaun Watson, and I can go Daniel Jones, and I like those guys. And you just end up with these like wide receivers. They can still work. They got a hit, but like there's a risk.
So like London uncorrelated, obviously, but I think JMO makes a lot of sense in this type of build where you could be getting a wide receiver 2 starting week 7, and we have like a bring back with Jeffy. We get Hyatt late. We have Waller. We have Saquon. So we actually have a trip with Jones. We end up pulling in DPJ. I do like JMO for those types of teams because you need that upside late with a bunch of those with the average Joes in the back end.
So by that logic, when I do a 0 RB team and I'm going 6 or 7 running backs, I'm only going for upside because I don't care about floor. I've got enough guys that I'm going to luck box into some 8 to 10 games just to provide the scores. That 8 to 10 is fine, but it's not winning me the leagues. I need the upside. And so if I'm going 0B, I look for upside. If I only have 4 running backs, my third one, I want to be someone who's actually on the field, because now I want that floor for the couple bye weeks. Maybe one guy gets injured for 2 weeks, etc.
It's a constant balance, and that's honestly how I think you advance as many teams as possible.
Hi,
I'm cool with Kittle. I'm cool with Kittle here. I'm cool with Lockett. Obviously, like a fallen Kittle, the 69 has been. I mean, we would have a double here. We could focus like Purdy as a second QB. We can go Lockett and pull in another receiver.
I like Kittle. You're getting 9 picks of value. We've already vesting in that game stack, and you also have Sam Howell and Purdy can now be our second quarterback, which aligns well from a draft capital with Jalen Hurts.
And same thing with the QBs. I delayed drafting George Kittle. I delayed drafting Hawkinson at the start of BBM. So getting those players on the back end has been nice.
What was there a strategy aspect, or was it just like other players?
Just receivers, liking the receivers in that range more, and then kind of seeing that be a pattern, getting those strong receiver teams early and pushing off the Kittle and Hawkinson exposure.
Nice.
But Waller is someone that I loved. I hyped Waller, and I still didn't end up with like a super high percent of him. That's the one that I kicked myself, because I know he could be a top 3 tight end if he's on the field for the whole season. It's just, it's funny because like once you see him practice and you saw it for the first time during OTAs, like, oh shit, like he's out there catching balls from Daniel Jones. Like he's not hurt, or well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It's not hurt yet, but that's one that I kind of kicked myself, because I did like him at 90. I liked him over Ingram. I liked him over Goddard.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a tough one. I think in general, those are difficult situations where it's like you also don't want to start chasing, where it's like, oh, but I already got some of him. Because like for me, I just looked. I'm at 3% Waller, but like at 1%, at one point, I was at like 8% Waller, because I grabbed him early, and I grabbed him at like the 100 spot and such. And I was like, I don't want to take him at 90. Now it's like, I don't want to take him at 80. And it's tough.
I'm at 9%. Like I'm not underweight on him, but I'm like,
but you love, you really
I know I should have been at like 15.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dotson click would be sort of weird, I think, for this team having 2.
Okay.
I don't mind adding Addison here or getting our second running back, but I think we really need a receiver in this range. So
I love Addison. I'm good with that. I was going to say for the Watson, I hear you. I have a gap between Addison and Watson. I'm Dotson from like who I actually like. So I'm good with Addison. I'd be okay with if you wanted to have gone Dotson, because again, we still could be going with a Sam Howell as our QB. And then you're getting that stack. We're really going for the game stack. And I think it could have worked out. But like, let's say Addison wasn't there. I would have been like, nah, Dotson makes good sense for me. Yeah. You like it, even though you got to spike 2 players on each side of the offense. I mean, I guess if you're targeting that game, it makes sense. Yeah. And you really don't need to. I mean, if that game turns into a shootout and only Ayuk or only Kittle have the big game, and then you've got the 2 with the QB on the other side, or vice versa, it's not like these are your first and second round picks. Like, picks are hard. So even if you hit on 3 out of those 4 in one game, that's still enough to potentially win a 440 person field.
Definitely. Super chat from Alex Mack. What do you and Herzig think of the rest of the team I drafted with those RBs? Appreciate the analysis from y'all. Let's take a peek. With that 4 RB squad, I did D-Hop, Kirk, Michael Thomas, Trevor Lawrence, Carr, and Tannehill. Nico Collins, Zay Jones, Thielen, Hyatt, Campbell, Waller, Taysom, and Hurst.
So it's a 3-4-8-3.
Yeah. So T-Lot and Carr, I'm probably good with just the 2 QBs. It seems like it's a naked Tannehill too, which is it's not the. Oh no, you got D-Hop. Sorry. I don't know.
I think Tannehill and Hurst are luxury picks. Not that they're bad, but I don't think they were necessary.
I agree.
I think the Tannehill to go with the stack and D-Hop and an expensive wide receiver, I don't mind. The Hurst as just a kind of one-off feels a bit more of a safety blanket, floor play. When you've got Waller, you've got Taysom. Even if you get shitty weeks out of them, it's the tight end position. No one really cares. You're hoping you just get enough spike weeks. So my thought would have been take that last Hurst and probably, I forgot, who are the running backs again? Because maybe you just throw another fifth running back on there, or you go with a ninth wide receiver. But I'd probably just go the fifth running back.
Yeah, I agree. And even Trevor Lawrence, like if I know I'm going to be targeting Tannehill, I'm probably not bringing in Carr. But that's entirely up to you.
I think T-Law and Tannehill is a fine combo. I think T-Law and Carr is a definitely fine combo.
Yeah, I agree. I do like how if you are betting on D-Hop, you sort of are making a bet on Tannehill, in my opinion. So I do like correlating those two. Same thing with like Stafford. It's a clear example. Like if you have Cooper Kupp, you are making a direct bet on Stafford as well. And I think that's another super important combo to get the both of them.
Yeah, 100%. Again, I'm looking now. So CMC, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, and Brian Robinson. I would not have gone with a fifth running back. I think that's enough capital there. Probably would have then focused on another wide receiver. Because it is a bit light on wide receiver. Obviously it is. You expect that.
I like the Brian Robinson too to kind of cap off that RB room. Really nice. But thank you for the super chat, Alex. Appreciate you.
Rashid Shaheed. If you could have grabbed a Shaheed somewhere in there, that would have been a great combo. Get a stack with Carr. Fits kind of well.
Now we're talking. Oh shit.
Okay, we're back on.
Falling White, 11 picks. This is where I would draft him. I don't have a ton of White because I like some of the other guys that go in that range. I'm definitely a James Conner. Definitely a James Conner clicker. It's like 18%.
Do you want the bear case there?
I know what both cases are. I like to shoot for the moon, especially in this case where
I think he's going to give you good advance rate. I think he's going to help your advance
I agree.
rate. I think like early on when they literally don't have a quarterback, like they're just going to run him and he's going to get high volume and it's going to look pretty good to start the year. And it may not actually be a bad pick and it may help you with an advance rate. I find it highly unlikely that he's able to, one, stay healthy throughout the entire season when they're riding him so much. And two, why are they going to be giving him playing time come week 15, 16, 17 in a lost season when he's likely worn down from the year? I think that's when it's, hey, let's let the veterans sit. Let's let him heal off that wound and bring in Keontae, bring in you got to figure out who the other running backs there are now after their last injury. But that's just
the only other argument is coaches need wins, right? They need to show production. Do they owe James Conner anything after this year? Because that would be. Let me peek that.
All right, 4-year, $3 million contract. 2024 is his last year. There's a potential out this year.
Around the clock.
Next year's a lot of dead cap. 8.5 million. I assume they cut him after this year.
We're on the clock. Penny's kind of a bet against Hurts in a way. I'm cool with either one of.
I would go Penny. I'd go Penny or Robinson or another running back.
We'll go Penny. It's still, I think in a single game slate, it might be a bet against each other, but season long, and there is season long prize too. You are betting on the offense in a whole. So I'm cool with it.
100% agree with that. And then also Penny can get there in literally one play. So he's not someone like Damian Harris and Josh Allen, where like Damian Harris is against Josh Allen because one, they're stealing each other's rushing touchdowns, and two, a game that Damian Harris has 20 rushes is probably not a great Josh Allen game. Rashad Penny, he could get there 100 yards plus and 12 carries, 2 touchdowns.
Dooley, welcome to the live stream, my man. I think Penny you could easily put in front of Kamara here too. Like I think he still has a little bit of wiggle room to move up.
We'll see after that Gainwell tweet. I don't know.
Oh, I hope he falls. Fall back.
It'll be interesting. There's a
it is
drumbeat
going to be
for
interesting. It is going
there's
to
a
be
drumbeat for
Philly.
Kamara that I have missed out on, that I do not have a lot on, but some sharp inside of the New Orleans Saints people are saying that he's a different man this year. So
I saw that.
I don't know. I'm gonna probably start taking some.
He got with a different trainer who balanced out his leg imbalance.
his ribs are healthier.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I think it's concerning that they're even bringing in veteran running backs for workouts. Like Kamara got a 3-game suspension. It's not like a 6-game suspension. So it's either, do they not have trust in Kendre? Is it Jamal? Like there is some sort of non-trust there just by just by what it says by them bringing in someone to work. I think that's interesting because you bring in Kareem Hunt, right? It was Hunt that went there.
It was
and then he went right to Indy after that.
So apparently before his visit, basically as he was walking into the facilities, got a call from his agent that Colts were offering him more, so don't sign. And to me, that kind of just says that, like, the Saints lost Eno Benjamin. They needed a 4th guy, especially for the first 3 weeks. Let's bring in Kareem Hunt. Let's pay him very little. And we just need a filler, especially for this first 3 weeks. I think the devil's advocate as well to what you're saying is maybe you can tell yourself a story that the Saints really want to commit to the run this year. And that's why they really want to carry 4 running backs. I don't know. I think if Kamara succeeds, he's doing it in the air. So more guys on the ground. I don't think actually digs into Kamara's work. I think it's more digging into Jamal, decreases Kendra's chance of, of getting there. I don't know. As I said,
I agree.
Have very,
and they also have
him, but
they also have Taysom Hill too, who's I mean, he's just always there. Kamara, he's a little bug.
I'm probably going to increase that over the next couple of weeks.
We're getting closer to Antonio Gibson's starting ADP, which was, it still started at like 129, 130 at BBM Open. I definitely liked him better there, but we see him go up to at 113. I think that's a fair price.
Yeah, the whole him Brian Robinson kind of swapping aspect was interesting for a half PPR site.
So weird. Give me the guy that goes later.
Yeah.
The Saints want 4 tight ends on the field. Get out of here.
I don't know what Jimmy Graham's like. What is
dude's 36, man? He was just knitting blankets with Happy Gilmore's grandma in the nursing home, and now he wants to play football again. So we'll see. Grandma. I'm cool with either one of these clicks, even a clue. Probably not. We got our 3rd running back. I'd say we definitely need a receiver here.
I like Nico on the Derrick Henry bring back. And
definitely.
Like Nico in general. He's a little more expensive these days, but 118 is also decent, a little better value, 117.
I agree. Especially where you might have to see Houston play this game in the air with the tough Tennessee Titans run defense.
Let's see. Any of these running backs you like here? Because there's a bit of a drop off after these RBs for our next pick.
Yeah, I mean, if Herbert makes it back to us, I like Herbert. Damian Harris, the FUD here is sort of tough to read through. With the Latavius Murray, like I'm still drafting a lot of Damian Harris, especially over Jerick McKinnon, over Jamal, in my opinion. And then I like Mitchell, I like Bigsby, Warren, Algier. And then again, it's like kind of muddy here.
Yeah.
Like what the role is going to be in these offenses with multiple running backs. But Singletary click. I would definitely like to get the 4th running back here, though. I agree with that.
I think so. Mitchell, I have 13%, but I've completely stopped. I am scared of the injuries and the reports that I am hearing out there. I really, really liked him earlier on in the season. But I've just kind of completely red light there.
Is this man scaring you right here, or is
it's
it
Mitchell?
More just Mitchell himself?
Just his health, and like if he can't be available, and he's struggled with the health the past 2 years, and so if this gives a chance for TDP or who's the other one?
I got you. I got you.
It's not
Mason.
Trey Sermon because he went to, there you go. Yeah.
Mason.
Like Mason, TDP. It just gives them an opportunity. Oh, perfect.
Right.
Love that.
Falling Herbert. Love that. Definitely. Yeah. Name the 1A on the team. I think that was sort of expected, though, with Donta Foreman being probably the 1B.
Yeah, the case I see here is I think they're going to like basically split the workload on the ground, but Khalil Herbert is more likely going to get substantial amounts of the passing game until Roshan comes on. And if one of the two were to go down, if Herbert goes down, then I think like Foreman stays as just a kind of runner and Roshan gets more play. If Deonta Foreman goes down, I think Herbert can turn into a bit more of a workhorse, until we see what Roshan is. And then I think end game, Roshan has the best opportunity to actually break out and be an every down back.
Ooh, fiery. It's fiery and spicy.
Would take time. There you go. Look at all this. All the chat. And it was just Jordan Mason throwing it up there for us.
Sickos. They're the true
FFG.
sickos.
I'm not drafting either TDP or Mason. I actually have a general anti-drafting questionable number 2 running backs. And I think people have been doing it for the past 2-3 months. You've been drafting Ronald Jones, drafting Malik Davis, drafting whoever your guess is. And the thing is, if you are right, you're not getting paid off because their ADP is not actually changing that much. But if you're wrong, you're taking zeros.
Those guys you can afford to wait on because they might move up 1 or 2 rounds.
Yep.
And where you could just be getting for sure points at QB or tight end.
Yep. Exactly.
Now
100%.
And it's not even upside right now. If someone gets hurt right now, there are too many free agent running backs to just come in for like Pierre Strong Jr. to be the guy, right? That's not going to happen. Joshua Kelly, not going to be the guy if Eckler goes down right now. It's too early. So drafting them right now, it's definitely a risk. Although I like Kelly as one of my last round guys because I think he is someone that has the for sure number 2 role.
I think Spiller. So I've drafted a little Kelly. I've drafted 0 Isaiah Spiller. I do think there is a chance Isaiah Spiller is the number 2. I think it's more likely it's Kelly, but I'm not as confident in it as I'd like to be.
I think it's like 75-25 for me, the way I see it.
See that.
But Malik Davis scares me because I just think there's a chance they bring back Zeke.
Rico got number 2 on the depth chart for whatever that's worth.
That's scary too. That's very scary. And you've seen people click him as of late too. But
same thing.
That's
not worth it. Yeah.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. How about Zamir White?
I mean, so I was going to use him as an example where you're like, even if your number 1 goes down, how high does someone go? Like Josh Jacobs looks to be as down as, left. I don't know when I'm returning. I'm not planning on returning anytime soon. And like Zamir goes to 180. That's like what you're expecting as that kind of rise. I'm not touching Zamir because my thought is if Josh Jacobs continues this holdout, 2 things happen. 1, they actually will go and sign a veteran free agent as a way to kind of show him, hey, we don't need you, and even put pressure. And then 2, if he does even still hold out, they're not going in the season with just Zamir White. This is the team that always believes they're going to be competitive. And you're not competitive with. They didn't trust Zamir White at all last year.
Now, I 100% agree with that. And it's tough for me to click Zamir White, especially when Gus Edwards is on the board. Now, we have the Gus Edwards injury, and there was I don't know if it fully got disclosed yet what he hurt, but he left before the team practice. I like the Gus Edwards click because he is sort of like the number 2 guy. He's going to get work. He should get work no matter what. And then you have Dobbins situation there. And I think there is a small difference with Gus where he is probably more skilled than Lenny. He probably has more juice in the tank than Lenny or Kareem Hunt or some of these older guys that they could bring in, whereas Zamir White, he just doesn't have any experience in the NFL yet.
Yeah.
17 total carries.
Yeah. Gus, for me, it's just how recovered is he from that injury. I think that is a risk, but I like it. Yeah. I don't think Melvin Gordon scares me.
That's good.
What are we looking at?
You know what? Like, I don't have a ton of Zay Jones.
He's a good fitter.
This is probably the range that I would need him to fall to for me to feel comfortable.
Oh, I like him a lot.
He's really been showing up in camp, especially in the red zone.
So, I mean, the argument for him is pretty simple. One, he had an amazing season last year and has a rapport with Trevor Lawrence. Okay, he can be a red zone weapon. Two, there's very few wide receivers who have as much contingency upside as he does. If one injury to Ridley or one injury to Christian Kirk, and he immediately can plug and play, he can play just about anywhere on the field. And he already has that established connection with Lawrence on a team that we expect to be better, throwing more. If you look at the names that are after him, I don't think anyone has the level of upside and the likelihood of hitting that upside that he does.
Right. And even bringing in Ridley, sure, he's going to take a large portion of the target share. Like, what do you think? Like 20, 22, 24%, around there.
It's fair.
And like 20, let's say 24, give or take 4%. Say Jones, he'll still benefit from extended drives, more red zone trips, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think Ridley completely kills him, but he was more expensive, right? To start BBM, like 126, I think is a small slide for him.
Yeah. I mean, like I would not be shocked if Zay Jones is like the, has the most red zone looks. If the talent isn't that much different from like a, Calvin Ridley and just like a red zone standpoint. And then if Calvin Ridley is actually going to be double teamed, if he's going to get like the Julio treatment or such that we saw in Atlanta, Calvin Ridley ate there. Maybe it's a little switch of the room now. Calvin Ridley gets the Julio double treatment and such and leaves someone like Christian Kirk. I don't know. Not outside the realm of possibility. I also love Christian Kirk though. So, but he's not as much of a red zone threat.
I like the take. I like Cole Kmet here at tight end.
Okay.
I just think he should be going probably around.
I don't know if I'm back.
Okay.
I froze.
All right. We're back. Even the computer, like I couldn't click off. I couldn't click him. And then he queued up. So, Kmet it is. Kmet it is.
I'm not getting much Cole Kmet. I just a little scared of how much Chicago is going to pass the ball. I do try to target him when I draft Justin Fields, but I don't know. Like we saw, he had weekly upside because if Justin Fields has to throw and he's throwing efficiently, then Cole Kmet's a red zone target.
Yeah, and that's the only reason I'm drafting him. I mean, he's shown that he can have those 2 touchdown games. He can have those spike weeks at the tight end position. I think he had 2 last season. And then when we look at what tight ends are left, for me, it's an easy click in this range. Everett, Sam, who would you prefer? Kmet or Laporta, really? Okay.
Yeah. We've just seen multiple years of Kmet. We kind of know what we're looking with. And then that offense, that's the big difference to me is Chicago versus Detroit. Detroit's going to be throwing a ton. And their QB is not taking any rushes, where Chicago, one of the least passing volumes in the league. I'm not expecting them to have a major uptick in that. So just from an opportunity wise, that's where I'd go Sam Laporta.
Okay.
But I'm fine with it. I think we should probably start queuing up someone like Brock Purdy, just to get an idea if we do want to, and then maybe keep Howell as our fallback if, break glass.
Yep. Howell, or we could go with the rookie there too, with Stroud, with the bring back of Henry. If we had to.
Yeah. Although
bring in Mechie for a double.
Chat, let us know. I have a feeling some of you have been watching the game. I heard Stroud has not looked that great right now, but then I look at the score. He's 2 for 4, 13 interception, then got pulled. Davis Mills, 9 for 12, 99 yards, touchdown to Tank.
The preseason guy. He's a preseason guy. Tyquan Thornton, by the way, with a nice reach up catch, which is what you like to see, high pointing the ball.
I put a tweet.
He all of a sudden becomes a click again.
Confirm our priors.
What prior are you talking about?
Oh, just any of them. If you liked Tyquan Thornton, that separation 27-yard catch was good enough reason for you to have your portfolio. If you hated CJ Stroud, then him going 2 for 4 and 13 yards interception means that he's going to be the worst QB ever.
I do have a lot of Taekwon, and man, this is especially going back to like the big board. We maxed the big board over here, and man, like Taekwon seemed like an easy click, and he was going in the 19th or 20th. He moved up to what, like 168 ish after Karain gave him a nice little boost, and then I started drafting. I faded him there, and then as he started falling, I picked him up again. That's an offense where
we got to find you some better streamers. Yeah, my big board was 1% at what is that, $30 out of the 150, and then 1% of the BBM. I don't know. I didn't buy
on Taekwon.
Maybe I was just jelly of Karain last year, but who knows?
On Taekwon?
Yeah.
I think the biggest surprise was the Parker contract.
That probably should have been a strong signal. I mean, yeah, Juju signing him is kind of weird, but they still brought him in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there was also like, was it the LSU? Oh, Keyshawn Boot.
So this team is
Butte they brought in. Yeah.
We're up real quick. This team has 3 QBs. This team has 1. I don't see any.
Is Purdy gone?
Players, no, Purdy's not gone.
Okay. This is ADP. He's pick 166. Right. This is 165. So definitely, yeah.
I always like to see if I can push them, and like here, if I could guarantee Purdy come back, I'd probably click either Shaheed or Mostert.
Yeah. No, that's sharp. I just stream, we talk, we get distracted. Someone pick it there. Who knows?
Oh yeah. But guys, if you haven't already, go down, drop a like on a live stream. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're doing a 24-hour live stream. If we could reach 1,000 subscribers for NFL Kickoff, and we're on pace, so just click that button. Click that button. Let's have some fun.
Alex Mack with 9%. Dell, definitely a unique pick, and this is it'll be interesting. One game I'm not going to take notice of too much. However, I have been hearing from reports that they do want Tank Dell to be in 3 wide receiver sets by the end of the year. So his size scared me, but maybe that shouldn't have scared me.
Small nugget. Matthew Berry tweeted out, Tank Dell will be something at some point this season. He will be relevant at some point this seauld
Yeah, he'll be like
I don't know how much help that is, but
5'8", 165.
I would caution people on the Demario Douglas pick, who's basically a 6th round Tank Dell, who went in the 3rd round. And Tank Dell plays bigger than his size too.
Okay. I love Jaden Reed. If we wanted to do that, I do not understand why there is such a gap between Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed when Jaden Reed is the better player, has better draft capital,
more production. Now, I think it's the Romeo Doubs thing is just like camp. It's all camp FUD. Like, oh, Jordan Love, favorite targets, Romeo Doubs. So, like, we saw Doubs last year, and you could tell he was very unpolished. I mean, so was Seawat, but Seawat was also hurt.
I mean, also draft capital. Romeo Doubs was a 4th rounder. Christian Watson was what, 2nd?
Yes. End of the 1st or early 2nd. And then Jaden Reed was a 2nd rounder.
Yeah, 2nd round for Christian Watson, Jaden Reed there. And then, Doubs like a 4th rounder that he had a couple good practices with Rodgers and found his way into the lineup. And then never really was able to do much other than just be there because they had no one else.
Wow.
It's a projection standpoint. Tank Dell going 175. That's why we draft during preseason.
There's get the spoons out. That guy just scooped so much value. Wow. It's too much. It's too much.
I know the Bucks play tomorrow night. There's a couple games Saturday. If you want to draft in the middle of a preseason game, that's the time to do it because someone's reaching on someone doing something in a preseason game.
The overreaction on a few catches in the first preseason game.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, it does help us make our team stronger. So let's read it off for the audio listeners. We have Jalen Hurts and Purdy at QB. At tight end, we have Kittle and Komet. Running backs, Derrick Henry, Rashad White, Rashad Penny, Khalil Herbert. Wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Ayuk, Jordan Addison, Nico Collins, Zay Jones, and Jada Reed. With this construction, I mean, we're very balanced. Obviously, I think we need another running back. We're done at QB. I think we're going to have a luxury pick in here where we could honestly go RB tight end. We could go RB wide receiver tight end. We could go RB wide receiver. What are you starting to think about, and what players sort of might change that for you?
Yeah, I would say running back and wide receiver should pretty much, in my mind, be the locked-in picks in one or two orders for round 16 and 17.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team just needs another at each of those. Then with a luxury on the 18th, we have some flexibility, and most likely it'll be a tight end just because that's what's best available at that time, and it kind of fits this build. But if we have something else with a stack that works out, if we want to grab Quez Watkins with their last one, like there's some options, but I think we definitely start off with running back and wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Now, Jerome Ford going at 186, this is probably a more appropriate ADP for him. Are you on Jerome Ford at his current ADP? Like, can you swallow that price?
Yeah. I want to get him like a round after his current ADP because I think there's a little overreaction to this injury. I don't think they have other guys that are going to take his job. Him not playing that first preseason game for me was a decent sign. Like, hey, they like him. They feel good enough that he's going to be the number 2. All the reports from coaches and talking him up about the role that'll play are great. I'd probably go either Zamir or Chuba here. But I think we grab a running back because if you don't grab a running back here, it can get a little ugly with the next.
Let's go with the unknown. Let's go with Samir.
Okay.
Or Chase Brown. I know you guys. So you are over at Establish the Run. You guys are high on for these late round running backs. I know Trevion Williams was one, and Ty Chandler. Is that the other one?
I would say we were not that high on Trevion. Definitely very high on Ty Chandler.
Okay.
We've been treating it up until a week or two ago. I'd say a week and a half ago. We were treating it as Ty Chandler was almost the guaranteed number 2. Evan Silva had him in his top 150. Doesn't mean that in best ball you should draft him top. Well, let's clarify.
Of course.
He only does top 150, and it's primarily for redraft. And he'd rather you say, hey, draft Ty Chandler than draft Adam Thielen. Even though Adam Thielen in best ball should be drafted ahead. In redraft, Adam Thielen is never touching your lineup. Ty Chandler has a chance to actually win that job, if not be a complimentary role, et cetera, blah, blah. But yeah, very high on Ty Chandler. However, recent reports have not been that positive. Although they're beat reporter reports who are evaluating the on-field production, not if he's running with the ones. So, like, yeah, he may not have looked that great, but, like, if he's still getting plays with the ones, that's what's important. So I've slowed down a little, but still like him.
Yeah, both RBs were pretty much struggling to separate.
That's what it says.
I think that's what the report. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been mixing in the rookie at all? I know he didn't have the draft capital. He's injured right now, so I think he may have just.
He's a great runner, one of the best runners in the class. Has never caught a ball like basically in his life.
Right.
So just limited upside.
But half point PPR guy, potential in the red zone.
Yeah, you just as a 6th round rookie, you got to beat out a lot of guys, and they like Ty Chandler.
Who's your click at receiver here? I like these 3 that just went. I like the McCole Hardman pick that's gone, but basically, I mean, I'm cool with any of these.
I honestly, I default to Paris Campbell from like ADP. I don't get him that often, but I'm fine with any of them except for Taekwon.
Okay. All right, 11 picks.
You just can't quit him. You can't quit him.
I got to put him on there. I just got to put him on there. He looks shiny. That's all.
I mean, that's so much. And I think, like, as we were talking about, like, ADP adjusting, like someone, unless they get completely injured and you get the O or the massive Q with a note on there, it's just people see, oh, I'm getting around to value. Even though it's not a great pick, I'm still getting around to value. So, like, it's hard for them to fall too much. Yeah, Alex Mack talking about Michael Wilson. I like Michael Wilson on DK a little more because I do think he's going to be playing in the 2 wide receiver sets, and I think like there's he's a decent player, but how many touchdowns is Arizona going to play for? Maybe if you're doing a
Yeah,
Kyler stack, I like it. But
I agree with that.
what are you looking
I
at
agree with
tight
that.
ends? Who do the guys you still like in this area?
I'm cool
God,
with.
there's so many.
I know. Honestly, probably like this. I'm cool with mixing in Musgrave in here too. Hurst, I don't have a whole lot of love for Hurst, not gonna lie. Honestly, it's probably looks like this. But I do like that Trey McBride is back on the field practicing.
McBride would be my first one, especially because it's a bring back to Philly and we don't have anything else from Philly here.
Mhm.
So I like that. We don't have a pass catcher for Jalen Hurts. Not that you need one, but in situations like this, I'd consider going with someone like a Quez Watkins, where for this team to really hit, like you're kind of hoping that Devonta Smith or AJ Brown kind of goes down. Quez Watkins is going to be the third wide receiver on that team, which has a little value. I'm a little concerned though if one of those two went down, like does his role substantially increase or like
So
I don't know.
I think for this team where we have a double stack in Purdy, we have the bring back with where is he? With McLaurin.
Yeah.
I think that for this team specifically, maybe Jalen Hurts is just strictly an advanced rate play. What do you
And
think
we're
about
winning
that?
on a bad Jalen Hurts week 17.
Yeah.
It's possible. Or it's a Jalen Hurts and he gets 2 touchdowns on the ground and just,
Right. Right. And your other
and-
players just spike higher than his receivers.
Yeah. Trey McBride feels like the right one as the bring back to that one. And who knows? Maybe he actually threw a touchdown to Rashad Penny. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Penny, how many career catches does Penny on it? It's like
I would guess he in Seattle was averaging about
10.
A target every 2 games. A target, maybe a little less than a target. Let's check.
It was extremely, extremely low. But hey, anything is possible.
I mean, especially for a QB who also doesn't throw to running backs.
Exactly.
Right. Game logs, career.
Isn't that a knock against Gainwell, who was out there in, man, I saw something like, was it 50 or 60% of like passing downs last year? But he still didn't.
27 receptions across 42 games. So about a reception every 2 games. And then to the Rashad Penny, I mean, I think it's a knock to all of the all of the running backs, and especially DeAndre Swift. But Kenneth Gainwell's going ADP 170. If he can get goal line work, I mean, if he can just have a couple spike weeks because the offense is so good, if injuries can happen, there's just lots of ways that he ends up,
definitely
surpassing his value.
Let's see if Tannehill goes. I'm a Tannehill stan at this point because if he ends up playing the full season, and right now I know it's been sort of rough for him in camp. There goes McBride. We just had to get by this guy. I thought
that's okay. We have Addison, right?
We do have Addison. We have Reed already. Not that that's a huge deal.
Yeah. I mean, I think Musgrave is also on the rise. I think, now that he's likely going to be the primary tight end there, his ADP will go up and he should be better than around 18. I just think he's a solid player too.
Yeah. Third tight end as well. It's balanced roster. We didn't get the Jalen Hurts stack, but we do have a double stack with Purdy and the bring back for week 17. So we still have upside surrounding that game. So I don't absolutely hate that.
I'm okay with going. There's a couple QBs like Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, that even if I get no other pieces from it, I can still see a way that it gets me into the playoffs and advancing each week.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, let's pull up. Let me pull this up after it finishes. We'll go over Vicky's team. I think this is the only pounder that got in this draft with us, which is always good.
I mean, your people are sharp. That's much better for us.
Oh, sometimes it is. Sometimes it is easier to draft with sharper people. You're not getting sniped on your stacks as much. Problem is if everyone has the value. BBM number 1, 2, 3, and I'll mark this
The winner.
Well, of course.
All your others are winners too, but still, this one I won with you, so it works out.
And then an episode. I gotta put the epi there so we can watch it afterwards. Let's pull up Vicky's team real quick. Drafted from the 2 spot, Trevor Lawrence and Pickett. I love that combo. Freiermuth, Kincaid, and Higbee. Same. Pickett is on the rise for my portfolio. Especially my portfolio. Like, I wonder if yours is the same. QBs, are they separating? Like, do you have any QBs in 20% range for exposures?
Yeah. So I just looked. I have Trey Lance at 24%, but that's because I'm still in the pre-draft one.
Okay. All right. How about post NFL board draft?
Oh, don't like that big boy Trey Lance. That's I was wrong.
Dude,
he was
at like 90.
Oh my God, I was so bad. Okay, here. Lamar 15, Kenny Pickett 15, Daniel Jones 14, and then next is Josh Allen at 11. So pretty flat outside those 3.
I have 5 QBs above 10%. Daniel Jones at 14, Purdy at 13, Geno Smith at 12, Fields at 12, Josh Allen at 11. I am trying to pump that Fields exposure up to, I'm hoping to get it to 15%, 16% before this tournament opens. I'm trying to go heavy on the Bears right now.
I'm at 8 Fields, and I've mostly been doing it more recently because his price, he was at the end of the 3rd round, early 4th round when we started this, and it was insane. But now it's definitely more manageable.
Yeah. Running backs, Stevenson, Montgomery, Dillon, Williams, and Chuba Hubbard. I like the capital spent here. I think it's a well-balanced backfield. What are your thoughts on A.J. Dillon?
I've got a lot of him. I mean, it's the same situation from what he's been the past couple of years, but you're getting like 3 rounds of value comparative.
Right.
And I can definitely see a world where you get to near the end of the season, Aaron Jones kind of is taking a break. They're not, using him. They let him rest, and they're just like, A.J. Dillon, he can catch passes. We've seen that. Like, he can be a workhorse.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. That contingent upside, and he's still a great change of pace back. They'll use him in the red zone. I love A.J. Dillon. I think he's one of my most drafted RBs right now. Wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Ridley, Kirk, Lockett, Bateman, Shaheed, Slayton, and Allen Robinson. Yeah, I like this team. I like this team a lot. What do you think about the Robinson last pick click? He's getting a couple more looks in the slot is the last report I saw. So he does bring in the double with Freiermuth and Robinson.
Yeah. I mean, hey, you got the Pittsburgh stack going there, which I think it's a great time to kind of draft Allen Robinson. Nice. And maybe in the slot, he's actually got a chance to win because he's not doing it on the outside anymore. I don't know. Nothing too exciting, but like you're not out looking for a huge year. Maybe you just get a nice touchdown or 2 in the right week.
Yeah. I like the tight end pairing. I think this team's super well balanced. Got the double with Ridley and Kirk to go with Lawrence. I don't think you need a reach, especially when you grab both of these receivers. You sort of corner the market a little bit on Trevor Lawrence. And that's when I actually like to tend to, I know you don't want to miss out on that stack, but you can push it, especially in the right rows. People sort of like shy away from Lawrence if they don't get Kirk or Ridley.
I agree there, particularly in the early parts of the draft, where the difference in a round is a lot. In the later parts of the draft, I'm willing to reach a little on the QB because the difference between pick 150 and 160 really isn't that much, but the difference between pick 50 and 60 is substantial.
Definitely agree. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate everyone coming out. Justin, appreciate you coming out. This was, amazing that you reach out to content creators and kind of spread the love. I think that's what all fantasy football is about. We're doing something that we love, and we do it for the people.
I appreciate it. This is fun. Well on you. I love this community. Love the kind of content. This is first time I've seen your show, but I've definitely seen you on Twitter. And I think we may have chatted once or twice before. So it's good to get a chance to kind of meet you and hang out. And this has been really fun. Enjoyed it.
Hell yeah. Right on, Justin. Appreciate you guys all coming out. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you drop that like on the way out and subscribe to the Pounders.